good morning, y'all. It's early. I'm still tired, but I feel like I just needed to get on here, um, and share some things with y'all. I'll be in my prayer time, early in the morning. I'll be praying all night, really, but things are just sitting on me. You know how sometimes you go to sleep and you know the Lord is downloading in your spirit, or dreams are coming to you, visions are coming to you, things are happening. Um, so I want to share some of the things that have been coming to me in my prayer time, coming to me in my dreams, different things like that, y'all. Um, First of all, I want to say a lot of these YouTube videos you see, they all over the place. They just taking over the YouTube, right? The chosen one. Are you a Sigma female? Dealing with narcissists. Um, you know, God's gonna use you. All these different things, and they have the channels they come through are like, I'll be reading whose channel it is. It'd be like Empowerosity or Rare Gems or all those little whatever. And sometimes they tell you about your haters. They tell you about the devil. They tell you about demons. They tell you, keep your mouth shut. Don't talk too much. And I'm here to confirm that those are true. Now, you guys know I'm a spiritual person. I'm a deeply spiritual person, and not by choice. I think it was by design. I just came out the womb. But they say the Lord know you before you was in your womb with your mother, baby. He knew me before he put me on this earth. He knew me. So I am indeed a highly spiritual person. Okay. So guys, as I've learned, as we go into, I talk about understanding natural and spiritual. I talk about understanding the spirit by the spirit. What spirit is in that person? What spirit or demon or whoever are you dealing with, right? And so now, this is all coming to me in my sleep. And I've had to look at, since my father passed, I've had to look back at things. And it don't matter what you're going through. When somebody does something, betrays you, or something happens that don't sit right with you, you contemplate on it. You go back and you think, well, what happened? Well, was it me? Did I do something? Did I say, was that person wrong or right? What happened to you have to go through that thing and figure out what's really going on, right? As I've done. So I've learned how, dealing with a widow, a black widow who is into witchcraft, and I want to give this disclaimer, y'all, because you're going to hear me talk quite a bit about this black widow that tried to do my father in nice nasty. Because it's not just about her being a black widow. It's the fact that she was doing demonic practices. And so I can't overlook that. I have to understand, when you're dealing with demons and demonic people, when you're dealing with people who deal in witchcraft and those things, you have two choices. You can ignore it and leave it alone and act like it didn't happen and it don't exist. Or you can stand 10 toes down and get on the battlefield and fight your battles. Because I promise you, if a person with demonic intentions has come for you, they're not finna stop, especially if they didn't win and they not satisfied with the results. They're not finna stop chanting and doing all these things they think they finna do against you. Now again, like I said, a curse without cause will fail. If you in the right, it don't matter what they do. But at the same time, you know, you have to know how to pay attention to what's taking place in your life. You know, because sometimes things can fall apart. And I talked to a man, somebody the other day, and they were saying, I feel cursed. They literally said that. I feel cursed. You know, and a lot of people may feel cursed. A lot of people may feel, but, and a lot of it too, I feel like there's a lot of people who ignore people who practice witchcraft. If you look at the movie with Ariana Grande, with The Wicked, they make wickedness look nice and friendly. Like it's nothing to be afraid of. What world, I mean, where is it where demonic people and practices are good and they don't do anything wrong? I don't understand that concept. If there's good and evil, then where's the evil? How did the evil become good and now nothing's wrong with it? So you're saying nothing's evil? I would argue that's a lie. I would have to argue that's a lie. But back to the topic. Studying people who practice demonic practices. And in my sleep, in my rest, the Lord started bringing all of these YouTube videos and, you know, don't talk too much. So I'm going to tell y'all what the devil did so you can understand. Black Widow. Everything. Now, this woman was supposed to love my father and his children and grandchildren and all of that, right? But on the back end, she was speaking death over me and my children, my family. She was speaking demonic things, evil things, wicked things. And so the Lord told me this morning, he brought it to my memory. Everything that I said that I was saying to my father, she sat there and listened to. And you've heard me say this about her before. She'd sit there and listen to me and my father's conversation, and she'd be writing things that I said. Who writes down things that people say? And she did it right in front of my face. That's how stupid her demon was, that she literally did it in front of my face. Trying to administer monitoring spirits. Like she literally did it in my face, thinking that I was not spiritually inclined and I was stupid. Even though she knew I went to Bible college, even though she knew I was mentored and trained, she took Christianity and God as a joke. Now, I'm not going to lie and say that Christianity has been upstanding, especially if you know the history of it and where it originated from. And white people can't tap into spirituality the way black people can, because we are born of the soil. We're born of the earth. We were formed and created. And Caucasian people came their race popped up at the end. They're the newest race created. They popped up at the end. So they stole our spirituality, tried to learn it, and then regurgitated it to us. So they don't have access the way God's chosen people have access to spiritual realms and spiritual things, you know. And so I would say things like she saw things that happened in my marriage when I was married. Things that my ex-husband was doing with my children I didn't agree with. Certain things that pissed me off about my kids. Now, if you're a good parent, you know you can mess with me, don't mess with my kids. Well, she heard me say things like that. Don't mess with my kids. Don't mess with my kids. I'm not a passive mother. I would show up for mine 100%, and you're not going to like it. So when it came down to my father my father came ill with cancer, starting to pass, everything that she knew I didn't like, she tried to support it and amplify it. So if she knew my kids bothered, I don't mess with my kids. So at the end, she started trying to mess with my kids. She started saying things, trying to hurt them. She started doing things, trying to cause them doubt and confusion. She went after my kids. And then I said, when my ex-best friend betrayed me, and I let people know she's not welcome to the funeral. I don't want her around me and my children during such a vulnerable time because she's a backstabber. I don't want those people around me. Well, she reached out and supported my ex-best friend and made sure that she attended my father's funeral and made sure that, you know what I'm saying? And then me and my father were having some issues, and she knew those issues. So she started putting her 2 cents in, trying to egg that in my father's head. Like everything she knew that was bothering me or that was an issue in my life, she amplified it, she supported it, she encouraged it, she put her effort and her energy into it. And that was something that the Lord was bringing me this morning, saying, that is why I say, don't speak too much. And then she knew me and my sister were having issues. And she did her best to increase the divide. She started purposefully favoring my sister, trying to give her things, and then telling me, oh, she can, but you can't. Like I was a kid. Oh, she can, but you can't. Like she was literally purposefully trying to divide me and my sister. And then she tried to divide my children from my sister's children. Like she literally put her best energy and effort into doing that. And there's nothing much, it wasn't something I could just shut my mouth on because it's my dad and, she's going to know things. But everything she knew that was a problem in my life, she tried to put all her energy behind it to amplify it, to totally try to break me, my kids, my sister, her kids, try to get back at my father. So you guys, again, don't speak too much. Be silent. Because it's one thing to have haters that don't like you. And some haters, they won't try to do anything. They just won't speak too well of you, or they won't say nothing at all. Or they'll try to stay away from you. But then there's other haters that are into witchcraft and demonic practices, going to palm readers and all of that stuff. And they'll go the extra mile to try to go in the spirit realm in an unseen place to try to destroy you. And if you don't know how to walk and operate in unseen places, i.e. the spirit realm, you will get demolished. For me, I spoke, but luckily I'm advanced in spiritual realms, so she couldn't get too far. But for those of you who are not advanced in spiritual realms, and you don't believe in witchcraft, and you don't know how far your haters will actually go, you really should be silent until you learn how to walk in those spaces, until you learn how to hear, operate with your angels, and some people call them spirit guides, or whatever. Be silent. Now me, I'm advanced enough to say things in front of a hater and send them on a wild goose chase just to see if they really are who they say they are. When you get advanced, you can play little spiritual games like that to catch your haters and trap them. That's a whole nother teaching. But the Black Widow, she made the worst mistake of her life. She made the worst mistake of her life. But that's one thing I want to share with y'all. Please like, click, share, subscribe. Go to my website, futuremepro.com. Purchase some products, etc., etc. I just had to share that with y'all.